Are we here? Y'all know I'll be tired, but child, are we here? Baby, these days just keep going and going. I be tired, but then there be so much going on, child, every single day. Every day. Every day is going and going. Okay. So we got to get into some things. We most definitely got to get into some things. Today was another day of 8 hours of Cassie on the stand. All right. I want to say shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to everybody that's in the room, in the building, ready to get into some things. It's a lot going on. Hit the Venmo. Thank you for the donations. That's really helping me get through. It's raining out here in New York City right now. We out in the trenches. We're getting this news to y'all. It's a lot going on today. I'm going to just start off and tell you this. Diddy, today was not a good day in court for Diddy. Today was not a good day in court for Diddy. Diddy was visibly uncomfortable. He was getting very frustrated, and the defense were throwing haymakers today. Okay? They were throwing Hail Marys today. Literally. They were shooting for every shot that they got. So before everything even started, right? Let me get a one in the chat if you can hear me. One in the chat if you can hear me. And I know y'all can, but I just want to get y'all know we about to get into some things. So, child, we get there. Before we even get started, they arguing. The defense, before Diddy's out there, but before we even get the jury out, before we get anything out, the defense is already arguing with the prosecution, and I'm gonna call them the government. They're arguing with the government because the government is like, hey, we know that you guys are about to do your cross-examination on Cassie and other witnesses, but two things that are happening. Diddy's team is trying to ambush the witnesses. So they were supposed to submit all of their exhibits by April 27th. Diddy and his team have not submitted all their exhibits, but yet they're about to start cross-examining the government witness, which means tomorrow is the cross-examination of Cassie. But the prosecution wants to be able to object or review some of the things that the exhibits that they're going to use as evidence against Cassie in the cross-examination. But the defense, Diddy's team, they're just trying to spring it up on us or spring it up on the government. And it goes live in front of a jury. So the head government lawyer, she's like, well, we don't mind if you're just going to show the exhibits to Cassie and ask her if she understands. Did she say this? Did she not? But if you're going to bring it into a live trial and bring it on the record and bring it in front of a jury, then we need to see what this evidence y'all have. Why have y'all not submitted it? Y'all are trying to submit at least 10 new pieces of information that we don't have or we haven't looked at. So then the defense gets upset. They're like, well, it's not on our job. The burden of proof is not on us. It's not on us. They were like, well, you need to have it done today before the end of lunch or end of day, because we're not going for that, because we don't know what you're about to try to present to a jury. We don't know. And so Diddy's team, they're moving a little scary. They're uncomfortable because they're feeling like their back is against the wall. Okay. And so the government is like, absolutely not. Y'all not doing that. Y'all are not doing that. Y'all are not bringing in new exhibits y'all had since April till April to bring this in. We put in, they said they have terabytes of exhibits. The government said that they've showed Diddy and his team terabytes of information. hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of receipts that Diddy's team was able to look at, refute, go through, so they weren't caught off guard about any evidence that was going to be presented in front of the live jury. However, the defense is playing a dirty game. They're not wanting to show their whole hand because they feel like the government then is going to prep the witness on how to respond to the answers. So what Diddy's team is trying to do, from what I got, they're trying to ambush and throw off the witnesses. And first starting witness is going to be Cassie. So there's going to be, they don't want any preparation. They just want to surprise you with a receipt in front of the jury. And the prosecution is like, we're not going for that. We're not going for that. We're not going for that at all. So that was the first argument. So they had to work that out. Then there's two more other witnesses. And through the cross-examination, Diddy's team doesn't want the witnesses to be allowed to confer, speak to, reference with, have any communication with their lawyer. Meaning, how they're trying to picture, they're saying, well, they don't want the witnesses to be like, well, did I answer the right question? Did I say this? Did I leave this out? So they don't want they're saying that they feel like the witnesses are going to be coached by the lawyer. So they just want the witness to be on the stand and be able to just get grilled. But the lawyers, all Cassie's lawyer and the two Jane Doe's lawyers came up and was like, we don't like that. We want our client to feel supported. So if they have a question about, can I say this? Can I not say this? Can I answer that? They should be able to say that. I'm not going to coach them in what to say. I'm not going to lead them into what to say, but we should be able to communicate because this is what they pay me for. And I'm not going to leave my client high and dry to be fried on the defense. So Diddy's team is playing a dirty game because they are wanting they want to surprise the witnesses and ambush them. And they don't want the witnesses to be able to even communicate with their lawyer at all on a break or if they're on the stand. They just can't talk to their own lawyer at all. I'm telling you, they're getting a little nervous. So today, Cassie takes the stand. It started off a little slow because I'm like, okay, where are they going with this? It was starting off a little slow. They went into all of the aliases that Cassie used in her, like, as her name. So we found out she used Jackie Star as an alias. This was to get the men for the freak offs. Veronica Bang. Veronica Bang Me. That was one of the names. Well, not me, but Bang. Then it was Nina Cocker or Crocker. So we had Jackie Star, she would go with to message to men, Veronica Bang, and Nina Crocker. Okay? Then they went into how she would have to go through between 6 to 8 different guys and 6 to 8 different times where she would have to verify if these guys were cops or not before they got to the freak off. Okay? They were also trying to see if Cassie ever put her hands on Diddy. So this day was all about the abuse and the control and the fear that Cassie had. I believe that they're trying to paint, what they were trying to do today for sure was lock in the RICO. They wanted to lock in everybody that was in charge of supporting and helping Diddy and how Cassie was trapped, aka kidnapped, and couldn't get away. You know what I'm saying? This is what this was about. Her being kidnapped, coerced, and everybody around helping Diddy when she was trying to get away, and about the paying for the prostitution. and traveling for that, okay? And with a sprinkle of arsenic. Yes. So they went back and played the video again of Cassie inside the hallway. And they asked Cassie, "What's happening here?" She said, "Well, I was at a freak off and I was tired. I wanted to leave the freak off. And pretty much I couldn't leave the freak off." So they played it again. They tried to, they because the defense is going to try to paint Cassie as being violent. So they asked, "Have you ever hit Diddy? When Diddy tried to hit you, have you ever been violent with Diddy?" She says, "I never really tried to fight. I didn't fight him back that day because I was afraid for my life. He would drag me, he would hit me, he would punch me, he would kick me, and I was so scared." She said she fought him in the beginning of the relationship, but it was just the beginning. But she doesn't really fight him that much as things got on because it would make things worse. So anytime she would get into it with him, she'd just throw her hands up in order to protect herself. Okay. Um, so what they were trying to show today in that video was how Diddy, when she tried to leave the freak off, right, with the paid escort, Diddy took her stuff. They showed him taking her stuff and her wallet and her keys back to the hotel room and then dragging her back. Well, you know where that goes? That goes into the kidnapping charge. She couldn't leave. When she finally left, Diddy texts her and says, "Call me. Yo, please call me. I'm surrounded. Please." He was acting like he was surrounded by police. Police never came. Cassie just said, "Put a robe on." Now, the escort that was in there was the cute escort by the name of Jules. Then they showed a picture of Cassie, because Cassie went home, took a picture of her face after that when she got dragged in the hallway, busted lip. They put the picture on the screen for the jury to see. Oh, they care. When I tell you the prosecution carried today, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of flipped a little bit. I'm not going to lie. We're going to really get into it today. They start off with Cassie with a busted lip, sitting there in the mirror. Boom, busted lip. Then she had a black eye from when he punched her, stepped on her, and kicked her. Diddy lied and said, "Oh, the cops are here. The cops are here." Then she told Diddy, she said, and then she sent Diddy the picture and was like, "You're sick for what you did. And I just want you to see what you did to me and remember what you did to me." And all he could think about is, I'm getting arrested. So he didn't even think about what he did to her or apologize. Now, her friend Carrie Morgan ended up coming over. Carrie Morgan is important because Carrie Morgan came over and called the police on Diddy because she didn't like what he did to Cassie. The police came to the house, but Cassie didn't want to hurt Diddy. She protected him still. So the police left. She just like, nothing happened. Everything's all good. Cassie told Diddy, "Hey, don't worry about it. Just go back inside. I've taken it up from here. Just go to bed. I'm about to plug in my phone and go to sleep. I'm done with it." Okay. So then they were asking, "Well, how did you get around? What happened?" Because somehow Cassie ended up going back to the place. So Diddy would tell her, "Listen, you can't be seen like this. You can't be out like this. My kids can't see you like this." So he would have the security guard pick her up and put her in a hotel for a few days. Mind you, Cassie got black eyes and all kind of stuff. Here's one particular day. I'm gonna show you. So I guess she may have been flirting with somebody, or he was flirting with somebody, right? And she got an attitude because they were at a red carpet event, and he was flirting with somebody, and she got an attitude about him flirting with them. And he said, "You better watch your mouth, better watch your attitude," something along those lines. And because she didn't watch it, they got in the car, and he beat the dog out of her. Well, he beat the dog out of her the day before. Then she had to go to a red carpet event. That was the whole thing. She was like, I'm gonna have to go to you don't care, like, I'm going to an event, I have things going on, I'm going to a premiere. Beat her up right before the premiere. And we probably saw this picture. Let me show you. This was the picture. Hold on. Y'all remember this? Well, if you don't, Cassie was beat right there. She had on a lot of makeup. You see the top of her shoulder? I don't know if you see the top of her shoulder right here towards the back. Well, if you see that, hold on. Am I sharing it? If you see the top of the shoulder, that's a bruise. That's a bruise in the back on the top of the shoulder. He had just finished beating her. He had just finished. Well, it's towards the back. But yeah, so this is one of the images they showed that she had just got into it. I don't know if my thing could really zoom. Y'all just have to type in Cassie red carpet gold dress. Type in Cassie red carpet gold dress. So this whole day, this is one of the pictures that they showed, and they went over and they talked about how she had got beat that day. So yes, it was a perfect match movie premiere. There was another time that she was out with French Montana. I couldn't find the picture, but they showed it in the exhibits where Diddy had got so mad at her because she had hit him back, or she had hit him, and he beat the hell out of her, kicked her, punched her, threw her into the ground, gashed her whole eyebrow. It was a whole knot in the eyebrow. It was a whole, you were where the meat was out. The meat was out. She literally had to go to OVO Fest in Canada like the next day, and so she put a lot of makeup on and put a gold and put a green wig on and swooped it. So anytime you see Cassie in a swoop, she's covering up a scratch or a scar or a knot or a black eye on her face. It's crazy. Then they showed 8 more escorts. Now, this was the part where they were showing the escorts because they were going to show Cassie in the freak offs. They didn't end up showing the videos to the public, so we didn't get to see anything on this end. We didn't get to see the freak offs, but the jury got to see the freak offs. There was an escort by the name of Islander, Tommy. There was 2 Ash. One of them looked gay. Shire, Jake. There's a white guy, Greg, Jonathan, Vin, Brian. And then they tell you the new escort, Ash, LA. Black escort was Los Angeles. Islander, no, she met him on Men for Rent. Tommy's from Miami. Black guy from Los Angeles. Shire from Los Angeles. Jake is a white guy. Then there was a guy with a mullet. It was a white man with a mullet from LA. And there was Greg from Miami. Jonathan. They hired Jonathan many times. He's from Miami. I don't even, there was another guy, they said he's a black guy, he's cute, new guy, okay. Brian, New York, they met Brian off of Craigslist. Which one did I say looks gay? Oh, one of the black escorts, she didn't know his name. He was from LA. He looked gay. And I'm like, oh, this is a gay man. That was some tea. It was Cassie's job to reach out to all the escorts and all the men. She would fill them out and get all their information and see what the escorts were about. That was her job. She would just, they were setting the scene up like everybody was hired. So at this point, it was just her job to find men. Every other day, it was a freak off. Every week, it was a freak off. Anytime they would talk, it would be like a freak off, a freak off, a freak off. All right. She'd be texting, what you doing? Oh, I'm ready to freak off. I just want to freak off. Every single time. And he was like, well, what you want to do? I will fly in. This is what Diddy's saying. Do you want to freak off? Because I will fly in Clayton. So they were showing that Diddy does pay for escorts, right? I think they were at a party and she was like, well, no. And she realized that he was talking to another girl. I don't know if this was Kim Porter, Kim Kardashian. I don't know what Kim this was. But Cassie, I think, told Diddy, no, she didn't want to do a freak off. Just call Kim. And so at that point, they got into it. He beat her again for talking crazy, punched her, boom, kicked her, boom, elbowed her, boom. But Cassie was just feeling like, well, this is all this man wants to do with me. He just wants to use me as a freaking sex bot, right? Then he would make her kiss the escorts in the mouth. And then she would say, I didn't want to kiss the escort. I don't want to kiss the escort. He would just continuously make her kiss the escorts. And she would feel sick. On her 29th birthday, Diddy threw Cassie a surprise birthday party. Then they had a freak off. But she wanted to go hang out with her friends and do other things. But when she did that, Diddy would blackmail her, tell her that he's going to expose all the videos of her if she did anything else. If she didn't want to freak off with him, he had a freaking disc where he would like tell her that he would expose her. She was talking to somebody. She couldn't even talk to anybody. If he caught her on her birthday talking to somebody, he would beat her ass. She said the thing is, she didn't really want to do that. And she didn't make a big deal out of it. And she didn't want the stuff to come out because she was like, I don't want to be shamed. She said she didn't even want to be in the video because they're like, well, why are you in the videos? Why'd you let him do it? Why didn't you tell him to delete the videos? She like, I did. But at the same time, I didn't want to be slut shamed. I didn't want to, I didn't want to be in these videos. She said, please delete the videos out of your phone. Diddy said he deleted them, but he never really deleted the videos. He never really deleted the videos. Um, so what ended up happening was somehow DJ Woo Kid ended up telling Sujin, I don't know who these characters are, about a video that he saw Cassie in. So Diddy was freaking out, like, you need to find this video. You need to find this video. We need to have a meeting with Sujin, DJ Woo Kid, because we got to figure out how these niggas got this video and who's on and where's this video at. So they had a whole meeting. I don't know if they ever figured it out. That part really wasn't clear. But Diddy was like, this is crazy that this information is out here. Keep him in your sight. Okay. So then they started mentioning more people that were around Diddy, like, you know, just managers, team members, things like that. Then they would ask Cassie, so what happened? What did you do after the freak offs? She said, well, after the freak offs, we get IV drips. I would take a bunch of opioids to feel numb after. She said she would do that after almost every freak off. She would take a Percocet or a Narco or a Valium or a Xanax. She would just be high off of that just so it could like help with her anxiety. She would be so bugged out. So because she felt like, especially when Diddy would go his way and she would go hers, she would have to go and take a volume because it was just like, he just smutted me out, degraded me, made me say, I never wanted to do this. And now I got to go my way. I got to go home. I got to do my thing. And he's going to do his. And so she would just be high off of pills. She was high off of opioids up until 2023. She was addicted to opioids, Percocets, Xanax, Valiums, Narcos. Then we got into the medical. This is where it got crazy. She said she would do so much drugs with Diddy, he would have her so drugged up that she would begin to get gastrointestinal issues because she would just be high every week on cocaine, Molly, ecstasy, ketamine, GHB or G4HB, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. She said she would be in so much pain. Then she said for a lot of the freak offs, she would have a UTI. And she would tell Diddy that she's burning. She said she'd be in there burning in her cooter, hurting. She would get back-to-back UTIs, infections, and it would be painful. And they would still do the freak offs with her hurting and burning with the UTI. She said it was very painful. She would have a kit of cranberry pills, cranberry juice. It would burn while she was having. It was very painful. And then, so this is what got me. So Diddy would have her go to the studio. And so she was doing her thing. And she was at the studio doing her thing, you know, working. And she was like, I'm just really, really tired. He's like, how you feeling? We had a long night. You know, we're getting back to life, getting ourselves back together. And then she's like, you know, I'm tired. I got to lay these vocals down. And he's like, well, how's the vocals going? And she's like, well, the vocals are good, but I just have these sores in my mouth. In the courtroom, the black lady, she talking about something. But, you know, she got to keep it together. And I'm thinking, sores? Then you see white people tense up. because they think it's swords. And I'm thinking, we finna swords. I almost pooted. I'm thinking, because you know, I had curl my stomach was thinking sores. I had to readjust myself. What kind of? She said she would have nothing but a bunch of sores all in her mouth, just sores. And I'm thinking, what? She said, yes, and I have a UTI. And he said, what? Are you okay? These are text message. And guess what she said? Yes, we just do a lot of dick. And I'm like, what? And you see Diddy doing this. So she said, and so the prosecution brought her back and said, well, hold on. Let's get back to the sores in your mouth. And she sat there on that stand and she said, I have a lot of sores in my mouth because I'm putting a lot of dicks in my mouth and lube and other foreign objects in my mouth from the freak offs. So she would frequently, along with the UTIs, the whole lot of the would be full of sores. Sores. Canker sores. 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 And then she would leave to go and have to drop vocals, and she can't even drop the vocals because she got sores in her mouth. From, what did she say? From doing a lot of dick. All while her Uchi is burning from the UTI. I was done there. I was through when they went there. And I'm looking over at the people looking at me, and then you hear somebody be advertising some, I was over there gagging. That was so sad. I'm not even gonna lie. That was sad. That was a lot. She said, it's a lot of party we do, but I'm good. Diddy texts back, we need you to go to the hospital. She said she felt drained. She felt tired. After every freak off, she felt gross. Shortly after, Diddy would just say, you know what, get better, champ. And then he took her to the sex club in New York, Vegas, Los Angeles. Diddy trained her and started talking to her into, talked about swapping partners and swinging. Sometimes they bring the escorts to the sex club with Diddy. And one of the main escorts they brought, Jules brought his wife. Now they said, so did you and Jules ever have an intimate relationship? She was like, no, not like that. But what it gave me about Jules, it feel like she still talked to Jules. Her and Jules is still cool, but Jules is just her friend. But she said she Jules, but in the clubs or and escorting. But she said that she Jules because she felt safe. It felt like a safe space when she with Jules. I don't think that she's attracted to him at all, but it was given this is a safer space for me and I feel comfortable here. She's vehemently denying being into sex clubs. Okay? She says she never wanted an open relationship. She always wanted to just be with Diddy. Then she's doing this whole time, she's like doing like awkward laughs, like and like pauses and like awkward laughs. Cassie said he was always so scary. She never wanted to push the issue because she didn't know She always would get high. She said she would always have to do drugs because she didn't know how to be sober. Then I got beat the brakes off of her. They showed another picture because she had went to the Abbey with her homegirls because all the gay boys be at the Abbey. This was a few years ago. They go to the Abbey. It's about 2015, and she was supposed to go to Canada for the OVO Fest, but she went to the Abbey, and when he came to her house, she wasn't packing because she was drunk and hanging out. And so, because she didn't do what he said, he kicked the door in, flung her across the bed. She hit her. You know them beds where you know the bed where the end of the bed, like the actual board, like the edge of the bed. Okay. She hit her head and gashed the whole thing open, squirting out blood. That was disgusting. Beat her down, and the next day she had to get on a flight. She sent him a picture and said, "So you can remember this," with cuts and gashes all on her face. She said, then he said, "Wow, you just don't stop." That's what Diddy said. Mind you, she sleep. She sleep, and he said, "You just don't stop. You just gonna keep going." This after she sent them a text message and a gash in her face of what he did to her. He talking about, "You just want to keep provoking me. You want to keep going." And she said, "Man, dude, just apologize to me. Like, I'm sending you this so you don't forget." But he took that as like, "Oh, she's taunting me. She just don't get it. She just don't get it." But they said, "Well, why did you send him the picture? He knows what you look like." She said, "Because I wanted him to remember what he did to me. I wanted him to remember exactly what he did to me." And his response was, like, "You gaslighting me all of a sudden. Like, don't play with me." And then she just like, "Dude, apologize. That's all you have to do is apologize." So that's when they showed the picture of her in French Montana with the swoop, and she had a whole black eye and a gash. She was on GHB, and she was freaked out in the shower one time in the Hamptons. After she left OVO, she was freaked out in the Hamptons because she was so high. They was doing a freak off in the Hamptons, and everybody was scared because they were like, "Well, why is she tripping out? Like, why is she tripping out like this?" Because she had, like, I guess she had a panic attack because she would have to take so much opioids because every time she would be with Diddy, they would have to do a freak off. And the way that she would talk about it, she was like, "We probably did a freak off." It was like, I was like, "Damn, is that all y'all do?" It was like anytime they had intimacy, it would have to be this production of a freak off. Then they said, "Well, have you ever had, like, like, have you have any residual scars or anything from?" She said, "I always will have this gash in the side of my face um, from that night. I just cover it with a lot of makeup." I showed you guys the red carpet where she got into that, where he hit her there. I showed you where Diddy pulled up the freak off video. I told you about the freak off videos where people around. She felt trapped, very fragile. He would talk. He would tell her if she talked to anybody else, she did anything, he would expose her. He had been blackmailing her and threatening her to embarrass her. When Cassie was talking about leaving, and Diddy was very controlling. And then the son, when she would be like, when I would want to leave, I couldn't leave. He was very controlling. He was very mean. Then I'm looking at Justin and the kids. Which one is it? The Christian, whatever one that looks at him looks like him. I'm not saying that he agreed, but he kind of looked at his dad, like at his brother. It was kind of like, "Oh, shit, she ain't lying." But not like that, but kind of like, I don't know. They could have been talking about something else, but it just was that same thing. And he kind of did that look like, so I don't know if that is this ain't good because Diddy is going through it or she ain't lying. But then through all of this, Diddy is sitting there like this. He doing these. He jumping back. You could tell that he was nervous today. I got here. Cassie said, listen, I was scared and I was in love. I think she was just scared and in love. And I wrote, Diddy is visibly uncomfortable, pushed back in his chair, seems to be irritated. He was so irritated when the drugs came in because they showed about 4 different pictures of her being beat up, vacation times where she was beat up, red carpets where she was beat down. Just like she was always getting her. They talked about a time in the car where he just stomped her out in the car. Stomped her out in the car with the windows down. Then they talked about a time where he just kicked her in the back because she went home. Well, that's probably, we get into it. So it was always a problem if she didn't want to get high or do something. He was always a concern if she didn't want to get high or if she didn't want to do a freak off. It would be a problem because it was every week. She didn't want to do that every week, she said. They had a whole text thread of communication of trying to get escorts. It got to the point where they were negotiating with escorts and how they were going to bring the escorts in and what escorts they was going to bring in. Then Diddy said, you know what? This escort, it was one that couldn't work at this time, was one that could work at this time. So Diddy said, you know what? This is what we'll do. We'll have Jake come at 10, and then we'll just get Jules at 1. So Jake would come for the first session, and then Jules would come for the second session. So then Cassie would have to get ready to go all night with 2 different men on the freak off. So then she would have to pop a valley. They call it a valley. The driver would then bring the Valium for her to pop the Valium. They said, then the next day she just sent him a heartfelt message. Had nothing to do with freak offs. She was just like, it was Father's Day. It was something along the lines like, I hope that we can one day have a kid and, he'd be as great as you and a kid of our own. And I appreciate everything that you've done for me and I love you. And, something very nice and heartfelt. And they were like, well, why did you send that? She said, I loved him. And it was Father's Day. I'm like, wow, she really loved that man. She really loved that man. And then there was an email that they had rolled up and it said, I feel like you're treating me like Ike Turner. I said, what do you mean? She just was getting beat every day. So what the prosecution was doing, they were showing that she was trapped, getting beat, and she was being forced for prostitution or at least hiring escorts. So then they denied the 10 pages of text messages that they were trying to do. So then the defense tried to, because they were showing a lot of text message threads. So they were trying to, find some incriminated threads against Cassie, but it just wasn't making any sense. So long story short, the court was like, we're not allowing these text messages into the trial right now, into the case right now. These are denied. Diddy was visibly upset about that. Was pissed. Got mad about that. I told you guys what the lawyer was saying. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. What else? They went over a lot of the employees that work for Diddy. Oh, here's another time. Cassie went to an event and she was talking to a producer at an event. Diddy walked up to her and called her because she was talking to a producer. She punched him and they started fighting. And then Diddy started stomping her in the face. The car was going back to Diddy's house. And once she got back there, she took off running. Diddy had the security go get her and brought her back to the house. He beat her so bad she was vomiting. But then he took her to the London hotel. He made her sneak out of the house and into the London and stay there for a week. She told security that she wanted to go home. She didn't feel safe. She didn't feel safe because she knew that Diddy had access to guns and threats he had made to her before that. But she couldn't talk to her family. She just wanted to go to her mom's house. But the whole thing is, Diddy was like, no, my kid. She was at his house for a minute. But he was like, you got to go put some makeup on. My kids can't see you like this. My son is there. He can't see you like this. Then he had her. So she said every so often, whether it be every other week or every week, she was getting tired because she would have to be in a freaking hotel because she would have to be healing. She said it got to a point where she was so tired. She was like, I can't even work no more. I can't do nothing because I'm always fucking healing. So she would get her ass beat. This is what, now you know why we didn't get no Cassie album. We didn't get no shows. We didn't get no tours. Every time we saw Cassie, Cassie was getting beat up and then being sent to a hotel to heal or get fucked. What a life. Could you imagine that? Your whole life, either you getting your ass whooped or you getting your ass fucked. On top of that, you bleeding, you itching, you dry, and you got sores in your mouth. You got a black eye. You got a busted lip. You getting stumped in your face. You got God knows what's going on fluid-wise. That's a lot. And you 22. That's a lot. 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 That is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Then they brought up the Kid Cudi piece. This is where I feel like they're going to try to get to the arsoning. She started dating Kid Cudi, I think, in about 2011. She didn't tell Diddy. However, they were at a freak off. Diddy went through her phone, and I guess she was and seen an email where she was telling Kid Cudi where she needed to get her toiletries or whatever. Once Diddy realized that she had been talking to Kid Cudi, he went and got a wine bottle opener and lunged at her face to try to like stab her eyes out. He didn't get her. She said she had to get out of there because Diddy had found out about Kid Cudi. But at the same time, she was happy because that was another freak off she was able to get out of. You see? So she was always ready. So even if men try to kill me, I'm just so happy because I don't have to be freaked out tonight. Because I'm so tired of being, I've got sores in my mouth, my bleeding is burning, and you don't care. And so, shout out to the 19,000 people in the chat. Let's get to 20K. If you haven't done so, my name is Armand Wiggins. We're covering the Diddy trial live from New York City. Go ahead and hit that like button, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button so you guys do not miss the moment when we go live and break down the case, because this is the best channel for Diddy updates, okay? And if you're just feeling so free and kind, please donate to our Venmo, okay? What is there, and it is helping us cover the case in New York. All right, so boom, let me get to it. So she had to get out of there because she was dating Kid Cudi, but that was another freak off she got out of. So Kid Cudi came and picked her up in the middle of the street and took her back. Yeah. So Kid Cudi picked her up from the middle of the street and took her back to his house in the hills. So she was kicking it with Kid Cudi. They was doing their thing or whatever. But she eventually went back to Diddy because they said Diddy wanted to just talk. And the prosecution said, so, well, why did you go back to Diddy's house? She was like, well, it's been 10 years. You can't just like get over stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? We were together for a long time. Well, no, that's not what she said. She said she just went back because Diddy wanted to talk. She said that the 10 years thing for something else. So she said she went back to Diddy's house because Diddy said he wanted to talk. So in the talk, Diddy threatened to expose Cassie and hurt Kid Cudi. So then, as she was leaving, he had cocked back and kicked her in the motherfucking back. Then they pulled up the picture. So this is where Cassie has, you probably won't be able to tell, but this is during the time where Cassie had the shaved head and it was like blue. Let me see. Cassie, shaved head. So yeah, these pictures are not going to be online. But what you can't see is while she has the shaved head, she's got bruises all down her back. And her head was shaved. So he kicked her. They pulled up the picture. The bruise was this big on her back. Kicked her right in her back. I'm like, damn. I was feeling bad for the girl. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? And then you look, and I'm looking at Diddy. Mind you, the black lady sitting there like this. One of the jurors. Diddy over there like, yo. And I'm going to be honest with you. Diddy and his team, I don't know what they're gonna do. This is not feeling good. This is not looking good. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm not feeling good about that because whether they can prove all of this racketeering and it was prostitution and all that, that girl was being tortured. She was like a slave. And then he was just taking his frustrations out on her, just beating her for no reason. But the whole thing is, we can't forget, she was signed to him. And remember, she thought she was going to get a career. And yet, all she got was beatings, sores, bloody cooter, UTIs, black eyes, bruises. But she kept the receipts. So, there was an email December 23rd, 2011, where he threatened to hurt Kid Cudi. But he said it wouldn't be him doing it. It's not gonna be by his hands. He would actually be out of town when Kid Cudi gets it. So he said he was gonna kill Kid Cudi for the most part. But Diddy was like, it ain't gonna be me. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be out of town. Then I got here, show pictures of Cassie shaved head with bruises. He was abusing the out of her. Black Cassie's eye. Oh, no, I put black lady jury is over here gagging. Yeah, she was. The black lady jury is gagging. I said, this is not good. Diddy looks stressed. Cassie ended up going to Connecticut to stay with her family for a little bit. Kid Cudi came over there for 3 or 4 days. She broke up with him, though, because it was too much. The reason why she said she broke up with him is because she had so much going on that she didn't feel that it would be safe for him or safe for her. And so the best thing for her to do was to leave Kid Cudi alone because it wouldn't be safe for neither one of them. She left him because she said she didn't want anybody to get hurt because Diddy wasn't stopping. So she lied to her family in Connecticut and went back to Diddy's house. Mm, mm, mm. So they actually went to dinner. No, when she went back to Diddy's house, he mentioned that Kid Cudi car is going to get blown up, and Diddy wanted Kid Cudi's friends to see the car get blown up. So apparently they go to dinner, Cassie, Kid Cudi, and Diddy, because Diddy want to talk again. This is where it got interesting. She was trying to tell the story, right? But then the defense was like objecting. They were doing a lot of objections, Your Honor, because they were getting trashed. So you know what? The prosecution said, you know what? Forget it. Let's get to the end of the story. Cassie said that we were having a meeting. Kid Cudi said, what about my car? Or what about my vehicle? Diddy said, nigga, what vehicle? That's when the car blew up. July 2nd, I think this was it July? July, I think that's what it said. They went to Jamaica. Black Cassie's eye in Jamaica. She don't remember why, but she just had a black eye. They showed a picture of it. Then they said there's another time she got beat up just because she was talking to people. It was like he was just obsessed with beating on her. She had a golf ball size knot on her head, black eye, and I put she was just getting beat. Then D-Rock, the security guard, would text her and say, where are you at? September 24th. It's time to put some ice on your face. Cassie says some of her friends and his was at his house, and there. No, she was talking about. Okay, so then that's when he went to her house. So after he beat her up, she went back to his house because he was like, "You can't be out here like this." So Cassie would be at his house, nursing herself back to health, and this is when. And she was like, well, some of his friends would be at the house, and one of his sons was there. And mind you, all the sons is in the courtroom. So I'm wondering which son was at the house when Cassie said that, and do they know that Cassie was in there beat down? This one, Diddy was telling her, you got to put on makeup because my son can't see you like that. And here's where it gets really tricky. Child, Diddy has caused Cassie to lose friends. They also asked Cassie, has Cassie seen Diddy be violent with anybody else? Cassie said she's seen him being violent with assistants. There's a guy and employees. There's a guy by the name of Eli. He just hauled off and punched Eli in the back of the head. Dragged his assistant Mia because he tried to go through her phone. And when she said no, he knocked her out and dragged her out to bed. One of her friends, Vanna, came over. He beat the hell out of Vanna. He beat the hell out of Vanna so bad, after he beat her, he picked her up. Now, I don't know. Somebody behind me, I don't know if they was lying or they said he picked her up by her titties. I don't know if that was true or not. But he picked her up, because I didn't hear that part. But they said he picked her up and held her over the balcony. Held her over the balcony for a minute, then threw Vanna back onto the patio furniture. This was Cassie's friend and makeup artist. Carrie Morgan, Cassie's BFF, that they had been friends for about 17 years. No longer friends with Carrie. They said, well, why are you not friends with Carrie Morgan? Cassie said, well, one day me and Carrie were at the house. We were about to do some drugs, and Diddy walked in, and he saw it, and he grabbed a wooden hanger and smacked the shit out of Carrie in the back of the head. And Carrie is white. So Carrie got the hell out of there and said, Cassie, take you and this black and I'll never talk to y'all again. Because they said that Diddy came with the wooden hanger. I guess they was Carrie and Cassie was breaking down the or whatever. Diddy came out the back and saw, and once he saw that, he came and smacked the shit out of Carrie with the wooden hanger. They said he cocked it back and smacked her like that in the back of the head, and Carrie said, to hell with that. I'm out of here. So he was just coming out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Why would he go and take a wooden hanger and smack the lady like that? I'm like, oh my God. So Carrie wasn't having it. Carrie wasn't having it. So she had got the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And so they asked about the drugs. Shout out to the 21,000 people in the chat. Somebody take a screenshot for me. They said, well, what drugs are you guys doing again? MMDA, MDMA, cocaine. No. They said, what drugs have you seen Diddy do? What were Diddy's drugs of choice? What did Diddy do? MDMA, cocaine, ketamine, mushrooms, Molly, and I don't know what One Stop is. They said he would keep it in his medicine bag. It's a Louis Vuitton bag. It's like a little toiletries bag. They said, Cassie, what would you do? She said, I would do a lot of opioids, Xanax, volumes, Narco, Percocet, Vicodin, and I would do it every day. She said she would do it every day. Every day. She said she got so sick. When she stopped taking the drugs, she got flu sick. And they said, well, how are you getting all the opioids? She said that Diddy had doctors that he was cool with that would write the prescriptions for the dope. See, that's the thing what they do in Hollywood. If you have the money, these doctors be in bed with you. So you pay them the money, they're going to get you the opioids. They said, well, how are you getting them so fast and turning over so much? They said, well, we would get it in my name, his name, assistant's name, employee's name. Whoever hadn't used their name in a while, their name would be used to get the prescriptions in. She said she finally stopped using in 2022. Mm-hmm. She said she was sleepwalking, seizures, blackouts. That's why she ended up getting into a fight in 2008 with a girl at the bar. Because they're going to try to paint this picture of Cassie being violent, but when she's trying to kind of slow down and stop, she was going through a lot of stuff. She was still having blackouts and stuff from all of that. Then she was at her apartment. They showed another exhibit, and it was a picture of a, let me see if I could show you this. Let me see. I'll be right back. Hold on. She had a knife like this etched into the door. Like that. A knife on her front door. etched into the door. They showed her, they said, well, what was the knife for? Like this, etched into the door. She said, for Diddy. She said that she had the knife because Diddy kept coming to her house unannounced. And that was for her protection. So she was ready to stab Diddy. She was ready to stab Diddy. Okay? She was just trying to protect herself. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Cassie's husband was in there up until now. Cassie's husband had got removed from the courtroom. I was wondering where they were going to do it. So here's the tea. So you remember, well, you don't know. If you're in a courtroom, if you've ever been to court or like old school church, think of a pew, think of a rows. You're sitting in the rows and it's kind of got like, it's like a row. Cassie's husband usually sits in the row in between like the brother, the sister, the mom, or whatever, whoever, blah, 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 blah. They were getting into the realty. Now they on outside of the row of the seating, they have like individual chairs, like if you have a little overflow in the church or something, you just put a little folding chair on the side of the aisle. And I'm thinking they're about to get into the story. Cassie's husband is sitting on the loose single chair, but his angle is towards Diddy. And I'm telling you, a lot of the time, this man will be looking over at Diddy. So yesterday, they were having a conversation about when they got to the 2018 and what happened. They did not want the husband to be there because the husband made a statement like he was going to Diddy up. So they were going back and forth for a while as to whether or not they should have Diddy in the courtroom or not. I mean, not Diddy in the courtroom, Alex Finn in the courtroom or not. So I guess they decided to have Alex out of the courtroom. They removed Cassie's husband for this next part of the story. And you're going to understand, you're going to know why. Because I feel like that man was going to get up and attack Diddy. So they moved him out of the courtroom for the safety of Diddy. They were fearful of Diddy's life with Cassie's husband in the courtroom for this particular part of the testimony. Yes, 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 girl, yes. So they removed the husband. I'm going to tell you why. So they said Diddy and Cassie went and met up. They're like, why would you go meet back up with Diddy again? She like, dude, like we had a 10-year relationship. You can't just let it go. They said, well, were you dating anybody else? She said, yeah, I was dating my husband now, Alex Finn. Alex is out of the courtroom. So they went to dinner and they were like out and about. They had a good time. Diddy comes back to Cassie's house and takes it from her. Add the R, match it to grape, and you get in her living room. So he took her forcefully in her living room. And they said, well, what happened? How did it go? Put me down. He just took it. I cried. And when he came inside her. Then he got up and he left. He took it from her, blanked inside of her, and left. Forced it. So I think that's why they didn't want Alex in there for that, because she was dating Alex at the time, which is now her husband and the son and the father of her kids. So now, like, if I'm Alex, I can deal with all the other golf stuff because I was around, I was the trainer, this, that, and the third. But Diddy did that because Diddy was upset that he found out she was dating Alex, because Diddy was threatening her and saying, give me my money. Pay me my money. And she like, well, what money? Well, the money was Diddy had been paying Alex Finn to be Cassie's personal trainer, and he was banging Cassie. So Diddy felt like, you gonna pay me my money for that. You gonna pay me. Then Cassie said she was intimate with Diddy one more time because they went to a party, had a good time, and they messed around. It was a good night. Crazy, 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 crazy. She said she fucked him again because it was 10 years. So she still loved him and she wanted to. Diddy wanted to be paid back for paying for Cassie's trainer and threatened to expose her. Okay? February 2023. She was having horrible flashbacks and breakdowns, and she tried to herself. This is the year of the lawsuit. She was traumatized. She said she came home one day and just said, you know what? You and the kids, Alice, would be better off without me. And then she opened the front door and tried to go walk out in traffic. These are gut-wrenching stories. And the thing is, I think everybody's not realizing why this is so big, why this is so monumental, why this is such a big deal, is because we did not expect Cassie to say anything, because we all love Cassie. We always wonder, like, Cassie never talks. Cassie never said anything. What happened with Cassie? Cassie and Diddy was together forever. Why he didn't marry Cassie? And for her to come and we find out all of this, Cassie was going through hell for over a decade. She was a slave and a punching bag. This is why this is such a big deal for a lot of us guys, because Cassie, people, you might say whatever you want to say about Cassie. She was with it, she was that. What I see from Cassie, she was a broken girl, broken spirit. She was young, and we're going to get into that. But at the end of the day, this woman said nothing. She wouldn't even talk on interviews. She said nothing. We've never heard her say anything. And all this was happening. And she would still be on those red carpets, beat up, still be at the shows, setting up coffins. We didn't know she was giving all this, being demolished in sodomy and Gomorrah, spit on, choking on piss. Did you forget? They were standing over Cassie. Two different just completely using her as a commode. And she's sitting there bleeding and itching, UTI and SARS. Girl, please. So we're going to keep going. So her plan was to write a book. And they were like, well, you're writing a book. What were you writing a book for? And this is where she broke down. She had a meltdown. She said, I was writing the book because I wanted him to read it. I wanted him to read it. I really wanted him to understand what he put me through. And I just feel like, he just was never listening. So she sent it over to, I think, one of his publicists or somebody that worked for him. And they sent it over to Diddy, and they were saying that no one's gonna believe you. No one's gonna care. And she said, they said, "Why do you think you went through this? What happened?" She said, she cried. And she said it was his own personal shame. And she said, I was trying to protect him from that. And I think that his inner demons was pretty much, he was taking it out on me. She said, his own personal shame brought the concept to her. At 20, you brought all this to me at 22. I was 22 years old. And you just freaked me out. She had a complete breakdown in court because it was all about Diddy not understanding. She was like, I just want you to understand what you put me through, how I felt. I loved you. And I just want you to hear me and apologize. You took everything from me, my soul. At 22. You had me freaking freaked out. And I didn't want freaked out and drugged out. Why did you do that to me? I didn't want this and beat up. And so she says it was his own personal, and it was his own personal shame she was dealing with. She felt like no one was going to take her book serious and no one would believe it. And she said this is where we got to it. I wanted to be paid for my time, and I wanted to be paid for my pain. Then you had some of the sons, some of the family, they looking back, Diddy looking back, people looking like, oh, she just wanted money. She said it. I wanted to get paid for my time, and I'm thinking that ain't even enough because you ain't the same. And they said, well, you asked for 30 million. They said, well, why did you ask for 30 million? She said, no reason. I just wanted a number where he would see me. I wanted his attention. In so many words, mother, you had me, you're going to run me 30 million. She said, I just picked a number and I went with it. 30 million. And she said, I want to get his attention. And they said, well, she said, did you settle? She said, yeah, I settled in 24 hours. And they said, how much was the settlement for? And I was like, ooh, I'm going to just tell you this. The best interviews are in the courthouse because there ain't nothing off the record, off the table. Because, you know, she'd have did that with anybody else. She'd have played games and I told. They said, well, how much was the settlement for? She said, 20 million. $20 million. I said, oh my God. I said, oh, do I want to be freaked out for 20 million? Damn. But still, that probably still ain't enough. They said, who paid you the 20 million? She said, Diddy paid her the $20 million between Diddy and his companies. She got paid out $20 million in 24 hours. They said, how many freak offs did you do? She said, I did hundreds of freak offs with Diddy. Hundreds. They said, have you ever did a freak off again without Diddy? She said, never. They said, then why are you testifying tonight? You got your money. You got paid. What are you testifying for? She said, I can't carry this anymore. Treating people like they're just disposable. And somehow I got Tyrone Blackburn got put out of court. Oh, that was because he was talking behind me. He did get put out of court. I did see that. I'm like, girl, what does that have to do? Okay, I just was writing notes. So She said, testifying can't carry this anymore. Treated people like they were disposable. And that's why she testified. And that was it. Wow, we got 23,000 people watching the show. This is record-breaking numbers for our show. Make sure you guys screenshot that. If you guys haven't done so, subscribe right now. And shameless plug, we're going to do a little Instagram shout out to. Follow me on Instagram at the Armand Wiggins Show. I'm about to put the link in the chat real quick. But we're still talking. We're still talking. I want to take some calls, but I don't trust y'all. Y'all be messing my stuff up sometime. I'm going to do a shameless link in here so y'all can subscribe on Instagram. Okay. Go ahead and get me on the gram. If you guys want to support the channel, Venmo us at Armand, ARMON _A. I'm trying to fix the Cash App, y'all. But listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. This Cassie, they handed it to Diddy today. Diddy was not comfortable. Diddy was not feeling excited. Diddy did not have he kept looking back at his sons doing this like we got this, and the sons they wasn't like no. Today the prosecution handed it to Diddy today. They gave him his ass. They gave him some ass today, but not the kind he wanted. Okay, it didn't look good for Diddy today. It did not look good for Diddy today. So we're going to keep covering this and see what happens next. But tomorrow, I expect explosions because Cassie Ventura will now be cross-examined by the defense. So they're going to attempt to discredit everything that the prosecution has laid on the table. However, the prosecution came so hard today, it's like they have receipts for everything. It wasn't just that video. It was bruises, blood, beat downs, this, that. It's like, and then here's the thing. The fact that that video in the Intercontinental Hotel got put out where you see him visibly kicking her and stepping on her and bringing her and dragging her back, you're going to believe every other thing happened. There's no way that Cassie tells me, oh, Diddy hit me, and I don't believe it. Then there's pictures of a random black eye here. Here's a bruise there. He's guilty. And then you had all your players in place. This is how they're getting them. Well, we're going to hide. We're going to sneak you to the hotel. We got to put you here. You got to put you there. But she was getting tired of hiding away, having to heal. That was an issue. So I think that's where they're going to get the racketeering. Then the prostitution comes with them booking and paying for the freak off escorts. So I think that they're going to get him. So I don't know. It's some tea, y'all. But I want to say shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for coming in here. We'll be back tomorrow with more live updates. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Listen, we get into some things. I love y'all and appreciate y'all. And until next time, keep that same energy, guys, and be good to one another, okay? And I love y'all all so much. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Peace out. Oh, and tell your friends about us, okay? Tell your friends about us. Come over here. We're doing it over here. Have a good night, y'all. Bye. And subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram, okay?